Like I said, we're taking this from the spark to the fire. We built an election platform where young people could share ideas across diverse perspectives, and we've now, with a number of different interviews, embarked on a new journey where SMWX has become one of the foremost media platforms in our country. And we're doing things a little bit differently. We're going to give people a fair hearing from multiple perspectives. We're not necessarily going to try to make people look stupid or be unnecessarily adversarial. We want to hear people's perspectives, hear them out, and treat our audience like they actually have an iota of intelligence, and you make up your mind for yourself. And in doing so, we hope to give you a deeper, more textured view of South African politics. Ayeye. Spread the fire. Welcome back to SMWX, and I'm really excited to be joined by Thulasizwe Simelane, who is a veteran political journalist, at least by my generation standards.
Thank you, Sizwe.
Thanks so much. We need to see a battle between whether Sizwe or Thulasizwe is the better name.
Look, some people do call me Sizwe, so it's
perfect.
okay, yeah.
We are here at the Union Buildings. President Ramaphosa has just briefed the nation. What stood out for you about the briefing, and what's your analysis of what President Ramaphosa said this evening?
The big thing for me, Sizwe, is that the president felt that he needed to personally deliver this message, and it's a scathing statement from the presidency. If you look at it, this is a statement that could have been read out by Kusela Diko, and if maybe you wanted to step it up, you could have asked Dr. Cassius Lubisi, the Director General, to come out and read this statement and perhaps highlight just how, the gravity of the matter. But he felt he needed to address it, knowing the contents, that actually it is scathing on the public protector. There were some choice words there that it's fundamentally and irretrievably flawed, talking about the report, and words like irrationality, that it's irrational, her factual basis is not sound, and even saying that she violated the Public Protector Act by not giving the president the opportunity to be heard on the issues to do with the remedial actions. He knew what was in it, and then he comes and he insists that I respect the office, I respect the person who holds the office. These are the standards, though, that this person should meet. They should act impartially, without fear, without prejudice, to continue to enjoy the confidence of South Africans just immediately before going into this onslaught, really, against the report.
Yeah, absolutely. It did feel like damning with faint praise, and I think we also saw that from the public protector when she started and said, the president has been so cooperative in this process, and then launched into this onslaught. She also has faced a lot of pressure. What are your thoughts on the public protector, how she's handled this, and whether in fact she may also have made some mistakes in this process?
Look, one thing to be said is that in the question of the public protector, she stood her ground, right? In as far as what she believes is her job and carrying out her duties to turn the scrutiny on the executive. There's been something that I've observed, that there's been something of a cold war between the executive, the current executive led by President Cyril Ramaphosa, and the current public protector. This report is not in isolation. So whether you're talking about the report into Dondo Mokgajane, the Director General at the Treasury, whether or not he disclosed that he had a criminal record going on there, whether those remedial actions were implemented or not, whether you're talking about the two reports about Pravin Gordhan, and that's not even a cold war, that's an out-and-out battle, and it's happening and it's fully fledged, to this particular report around the 500,000 rand donation. So there's been that, and she has felt that she's standing her ground, even quoting the Bible at times and saying, so I will go to the king, if I perish, I perish, quoting from the Bible. But let's not ignore that there have been findings that have been made about how she has carried out her tasks. Certainly in as far as the report into Benko, the investigation there around whether or not ABSA benefited from that bailout that was carried out in the apartheid era. There the court made some damning findings, findings that do say that she misconstrued some of her powers. Certainly I've had questions about the one clause, for example, where she talked about changing the mandate of the Reserve Bank. No one is saying don't change it, but the manner in which she was suggesting writing a clause herself and basically taking it as remedial action to say to Parliament, insert this clause. She knows that's not how you amend the Constitution. So there have been questions there, and I suppose we now wait for the Constitutional Court to settle that matter once and for all. You've heard, for instance, the Estina Dairy Project report also come under the scrutiny, where basically there the court said that you did everything but investigate what you were supposed to investigate.
And I suppose just finally, in terms of the internal politics of the ANC, this is an interesting moment. On the one hand, I spoke recently to former President Zuma, and he broke ranks with the whole unity argument, which he has been doing. President Ramaphosa is still standing firm that, you know, I think he mentioned the kraal, bringing everyone back in. What are your thoughts on the major questions that now linger over the ANC?
Look, Sizwe, the whole issue of unity in the ANC is that pot of gold at the end of a rainbow. Does it exist? There's very little evidence of it. They talk of unity. There's really talk of unity. Take, for instance, the testimony that came out of the State Capture Commission of Inquiry last week of former President Zuma, and how he was now talking about people that he says were spies, were collaborators of the apartheid regime. Did you see how there was one section that was cheering for him and saying, yes, say more, we've been waiting for these truths to be spoken, it's about time. Some of them even saying, going as far as to say, we can't be led by spies, basically without out and out naming the current leadership, saying who are these people that were sort of being groomed by these three intelligence agencies from 1990 already to end up in the leadership of the ANC. You can connect the dots for yourself. Who is he talking about in this current context? That's the one side. You've had a side that says, actually, this is a pushback. After Nasrec, President Ramaphosa and his leadership in the NEC and also in government have gone against corruption and those who are corrupt, and now these people are fighting back. In that context, institutions such as the Secretary General's office in the ANC, he is being watched very closely. Which side is he leaning? Every word that Ace Magashule says is scrutinized. You just get a sense that this unity is spoken about more than it's actually lived out.
Well, thanks so much for joining us on SMWX.
Thanks, Sizwe.
Team Sizwe. Ayeye.
Thulasizwe. Thanks, man. Sure.
Appreciate it. Thanks for watching the content. Like, share, and subscribe on all platforms. smwx.co.za to join the WhatsApp channel. And let's build a new conversation for a new generation. Ayeye.